Hey, you guys. Welcome to another Talk About It Thursday. Let me know when you guys are on and we'll get started. Hoping everybody's having an amazing week. Hoping everybody has survived these storms that we've been having. Pray for everyone and their children and your property and just your well-being because it's just a lot going on. But we are thankful to be here once again, just to be able to say thank you, Lord, for giving us another day. We've got so much to be grateful for. In spite of what we go through, we still have a lot to be grateful for. I was trying to get ready for the podcast today, and because I've had power outages at my house this week due to the storms, which I thank God that it wasn't anything worse than that. But I'm having issues with my internet. And so when I finish with the podcast, I've got to call the internet company and see if they can help me figure out what's going on with that. But thanks be to God, I haven't had any other issues. So I just pray for those that, have had major things go on with these tropical storms that we've been having. You guys know Easter is approaching. I have such a hard time keeping up with Easter. I guess because my children are grown and I don't have to hide Easter eggs or buy Easter clothes or do all that fun stuff that people do at Easter. So sometimes Easter gets away from me. But I did not want to miss the opportunity to just ask you to celebrate. Celebrate what Easter is really about. Celebrate, what Jesus did for us. Celebrate what God did for us by sending Jesus to be that bridge between He and us, because Jesus was the one that, bore all of our sins. So we just have to be grateful at this time of year and just understand that we have hope, because we have a risen Savior. But I just wanted to get that in there in the spirit of Easter, and I'm praying everything is well with everybody. We're going to give everybody just another minute, and then we're going to get started. I don't want to jump the gun on anybody. I know everybody's trying to get off from work, and I get it. And traffic is crazy in most places. It's even gotten a little bit crazy down here in Tyler, and we used to have mild traffic. Now we've got crazy traffic. Hey, Kinsley, how are you? Hey, happy Thursday, Kinsley, and happy almost Easter. Hopefully you're going to get off from work for Good Friday. Unfortunately, the company that I work for is not letting us off, so I will be at work. But I will still be in the spirit of Easter and be thankful, for all that I've been given and all I've been able to do, so far in this life. Well, let's go ahead and get started in the interest of time because I do not want to hold you guys up. When you come on, just say hello to me and I'll pause enough just to say hello. But our topic for today is, what are you waiting for? And that's kind of a two-part question. We all understand that in life, there are going to be times where we're going to be able to move, and then there's going to be times where we're required to wait. And most of us, are impatient. We want what we want when we want it. And a lot of it has to do with the society that we're in and everything being so fast paced and technology being what it is. Everybody wants everything yesterday. But life doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you're going to have to wait for something. And what we want to talk about is how to wait if you have to wait. What do you do while you're waiting? What do we do? I sent on a video on the page about a young man that was explaining a revelation that was given to him. It was very inspiring. He looked to be maybe 19, 20. And he was talking about God and what to do while you're waiting, and about how God is going to take care of you, how He takes care of the sparrow, that you have to understand if He takes care of a sparrow, of course He's going to take care of you. And he was saying, enjoy the wait. Don't get caught up in worrying about when something's going to happen. Enjoy the time that you're in right now until it happens. So that's what we want to talk about today. While waiting is inevitable, when we're born, we're waiting to die. There's that time in between that we call life. But everybody that's born is going to die at some point. So we're in the in-between stages of that. So what do you do while you're waiting to die? You live. You make the most of your life. You do all you can while you can. And you try to have all the experiences that you can. You try to enrich your life. You try to enrich the life of others. That's what we're supposed to do in between this time of life and death. When I die, I want to die fully poured out to where I say I don't have nothing left to give, because I want to give it all while I'm able. I want to give it all while my mind is good. I want to give it all while my body's good. I want to thoroughly enjoy my life, because Jesus came. He said he came that we have life, but life more abundantly. And a lot of people think that's all about money. And that could be no further from the truth, or else rich people would never be unhappy. And we've seen enough stuff on TV to know that that's not true. They're always unhappy about something, or trying to commit suicide, or trying to cheat somebody, or keep somebody from cheating them. So it can't all be about money. But Jesus came to give us life, and life more abundantly. And we have to understand something is either happening to us, or you're waiting for something to happen. You're in one of those two stages your whole life. There's never a time when there's absolutely nothing happening. You may not see it in the physical, but a lot of times things are happening in the spirit that you don't even understand. So there's either times where things are happening, or times when you're going to be waiting for something to happen. You're either doing, or you're waiting to do something. It's what we do in between is what we want to talk about today. What are you doing in between while you're waiting for something to happen? You've asked God for something, but what are you doing while you're waiting on God to give you what you're asking for? And that's a good question. Let's talk about how to wait. The first thing you need to do is ask God, Lord, teach me how to wait. Because none of us know how to wait effectively. That's why we get impatient. That's why we get mad. That's why we get anxious. That's why, we lose our temper. Things like that, because we don't know how to wait. Most of us have been blessed to the point where we've not had to do without a lot. You may not have been rich, but most of us don't know true hunger. Most of us don't know what it's like to have to live on the street. Most of us don't know what it's like to do what you got to do to get some food, in your mouth, or get a shelter over your head. Most of us can't say that we understand fully what all is entailed with that. So that's why a lot of us don't know how to wait, because we've never really had to, at least not for a long period of time. So Lord, teach me how to wait. While you're waiting, one thing we've got to learn how to do, you guys, and I am really trying hard to get this concept down, and why it's so important to celebrate others. While you're waiting on your blessing, while you're waiting on your thing to come to pass, while you're waiting on your dream to come to pass, it is so important that you plant seeds. That's why you have to celebrate other people. That's why you have to encourage other people. You're planting seeds that you're going to need later on. You're going to need that for your harvest later on. You can't be all about me and then feel like you're going to be this great success. You've got to plant some seeds along the way. And one way to plant seeds is celebrating other people. When you see somebody that's got what you're trying to get, celebrate them. Because I'm sure they did what they had to do to get there. I'm sure they prayed, and I'm sure they worked to get where they are. So don't hate on them. Celebrate them. Because that's good for your soul. Because it's teaching you to understand that God is not a respecter of person. If he did it for him, or he did it for her, why wouldn't he do it for me? But if my spirit is not right, if I'm jealous and envious, why would he do anything for me? When we celebrate one another, we're saying sister, I'm so proud of you. Help me get to where you are. Or brother, I am so encouraged by you. I am so proud of how far you've come. You're planting seeds, because later on, you're going to receive a blessing from those seeds that you plant. So while you're waiting, learn how to celebrate other people and stop hating on people. And learn how to truly be happy for someone and celebrate their success. The next thing you should do while you're waiting is keep moving. Don't sit down and say, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for it to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to have to come to me. It's not going to work like that. You've got to put in the work to make what happen that you want to happen. You're not going to be able to just sit down and blink your eyes and say, okay, I want it right now, put it in my lap. No, get up and do the work. Keep moving. And even when it's delayed, don't think that God is denying you. Sometimes you're just not ready for it. So don't get upset because it's not happening as fast as you want it to. Keep moving. Keep doing what you know to do. Learn some new things, some new ways. Try to mature a little bit. Maybe God will go ahead and give it to you if he knows that you're able to handle it once he does give it to you. So keep it moving. Don't sit down and wait for something to happen. Make it happen. Okay? Another thing I said before is enjoy the wait. While you're waiting on this thing to happen, start enjoying some other things in your life. You know, just because you're not sitting around praying about the same thing all the time, sitting down twiddling your thumbs about the same thing, doesn't mean that you're neglecting what you're asking for. What you need to be able to do is ask for something, work towards that goal, and also be able to enjoy yourself in the meantime. You can't work all the time and not have time to yourself to enjoy just being alive. Just enjoying the world around you. Explore some things. Do some things you've never done before. You'd be amazed at how it would open your eyes and open your mind. So while you're waiting, enjoy the wait and understand that God has you waiting for a reason. Because a lot of times we're not ready for what we ask for. I know I'm not ready for some of the things that I've asked for. So God is having to mature me or get me in a position or get me out of that mindset or make me understand there's going to be some sacrifices that come along with what you're asking for, and you're not ready to make those sacrifices. So understand, enjoy the wait. So while I'm waiting, I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning what I like and what I don't like. I'm meeting new people. I'm trying to explore traveling to different places. I'm not going to sit around and mope and wait for my change to come. I'm going to enjoy the wait while it's changing. Because you're always constantly changing. So enjoy the wait and enjoy some things while you're waiting for that big thing that you're asking for. And the next thing while you're waiting, be grateful. Sit down and take an assessment and just say, okay, where was I last year? Or 10 years from now? Or remember how sad I was. Remember when I was depressed. All of that. Sit down and think about those things and think about how far God has brought you. And that'll give you a spirit of gratefulness. And that's how you should wait. Grateful and saying, you know, God, you know I've asked you for this, but even if you don't, you've done enough. And God has done enough for all of us. He truly has. None of us deserve any of what God has given us. And anything that's happening with us that's good and that's a blessing, it's only by God's grace and mercy. So we should be grateful that he would even do the things that he's doing within us, because we're not perfect, because we don't get it right. We're always stepping out of line. We're always doing something or thinking something or saying something, that we shouldn't say. But God never forsakes us and he never leaves us. And for that, we need to be grateful. So even if we have to wait for some things, learn to be grateful while you're waiting. And then another thing that you do while you're waiting is not be anxious. The word says be anxious for nothing. And I know that sounds easy, and it's the hardest thing in the world, because we are control freaks and we like things to go the way we want them to go. And when they don't, we get nervous. I know I do. I get anxious. And I have to talk myself down and remember, that God is on my side. Remind myself that God's got my back. If this is going this way, God must have a reason for this. I am not going to let that spirit of fear get up inside of me and have me worried about something that hasn't even happened. And that's a constant struggle for me, because I don't always like change, and especially instant change. Stuff that throws me off my game. I don't really like that, but I'm having to learn to adjust and trust God that even if it catches you off guard, nothing catches God off guard. God is all-knowing, all-seeing. So while you're surprised, God is never surprised as to what's going on in your life. And so just understand that. So be anxious for nothing. And when you do get anxious, ask God and tell God and pray and say, God, I believe, help my unbelief. Because we all have periods where we say, God, are you really still with me? Because I can't tell. Because it's just too much going on. Are you still on my side? I need you to give me a sign because I feel like you have left me out here to fend for myself. So that's that fear talking. So we all go through that. But just remember, sometimes God is silent. And he's silent for a reason because he's working some things out for you. He don't have to always explain them to you because you won't get it anyway because we don't think like him. So just understand that. Try to be anxious for nothing and just pray to God and make your requests known unto God. Okay? And ask God to direct your path. Another thing we should do while we're waiting is prepare yourself for what you're asking for. Or prepare yourself for what you're waiting on. If you're single and you're wanting a mate, you need to be preparing yourself to be what that other person needs. You don't want to go into a relationship broken and be a burden on somebody else. So you need to take this time, if you haven't healed, if you haven't gotten over some things, if you're still talking about the same old stuff all the time, you're not healed. So don't take a big wound into a relationship and then somebody else got to always be cleaning that wound and washing it out and bandaging that wound because they're going to get tired after a while. So get yourself healed up, bandaged up before you decide to step into somebody else's life. Because like we said in our prior talks, all of us have baggage. And therefore, we're going to bring some baggage, but some wounds you need to get healed from before you try to bring somebody else in your life because it's not fair for them to have to deal with that because they didn't cause that wound. So understand that. And then if you're wanting to be, in a leadership position, prepare yourself to learn how to be a leader. You have to be a servant before you can be a leader. So if you don't know how to serve under anybody, you don't know how to work up under anybody, you don't know how to take orders, you get mad every time somebody tells you to do something, then how are you going to be a leader? You just want everybody to do what you want them to do. No, honey, you lead by example. You lead by example. When they see you, and that's why Jesus did what he did for the disciples, washing their feet. He was being an example of how to serve. So that they'll understand, yeah, you're going to be great. Yeah, you're going to be running things, but you also need to know what it's like to be in the lowest position, which is to serve. Because it's good for your spirit to serve. Because it keeps you humble to serve. It keeps you from thinking that you're all that. So you want to know how to serve. So prepare yourself for what you're asking for. If you're asking God to increase your finances, then guess what? You need to learn how to budget and stop doing all that shopping all the time. You need to learn how to budget. Stop eating out all the time. You need to learn how to budget. Stop running here and there, wasting time and wasting money. If you want God to increase, you're going to need to know how to handle that money when you get it, or you're going to be like some of these people that win millions and millions of dollars and then they're broke by the end of the year because nobody taught them how to handle that money when they got it. So if you're asking God to give you more or trust you with more, you need to prepare yourself until he gives it to you. And that's something we all need to learn. We all need to get prepared for what we're asking for. That way it's not such a struggle when we do get it. Okay? And then you're able to maintain it once you get it as well. There's nothing like asking for a relationship and then that little honeymoon phase is over and then all of a sudden you want to get out. You didn't prepare for what you asked for. The honeymoon is just the beginning. It's going to be a whole bunch of different phases to that relationship. So why ask for something that you really haven't prepared for? That's like a pop quiz. And you've been cutting up and you haven't been studying. Y'all know how we used to do in school. And then you get mad when you get a pop quiz. What you mad for? You were supposed to be taking all this time to study. So God may be trying to put something in your life, or opportunity may come and you miss it because you haven't done the work, so that when you are presented with an opportunity, you'll be ready to step right into it. So that's what we're supposed to be doing while we're waiting. We're supposed to be preparing for what God has shown us that we can be. A lot of things I'm learning about leadership, because I feel like God draws me to leadership. I'm learning how to serve. I'm learning how to be the little person in the back. Hey, sissy, I'm learning how to take orders. I'm learning how to listen to the spirit. I'm learning to watch other people and watch what they do. A lot of times I'm watching you. Hey, sister, I'm watching you so I don't make the same mistakes you're making. So sometimes it's good to sit back and watch other people, because you can learn a lot from other people's behavior. So get yourself prepared for what you're asking for, because a lot of times we're not ready for it, and that's why it doesn't last. Case in point, we all have been through some things. We've been in some situations that we were glad we had it, but then they became a burden. Because guess what? You weren't ready for all aspects of what you asked for. You just wanted the good times. And with anything, you're going to have good times and you're going to have hard times. And you got to be able to know how to balance both. And understand it comes with the territory. But if you're only prepared for the good, when the bad comes, you're going to faint away. You're going to faint away and you're not going to be able to stand. So that's why we need to spend this time when you are by yourself, or when you haven't gotten what you've asked for. Start preparing for those things. Start walking like you already have it. That's the next thing. Walk like you already have it. Act like you already have it. If you're asking God to put you in a leadership position, put you around influential people, start acting like it. Check your crowd. You know, if you're hanging around hood folks doing hood things, you're not going to be put before great men. Nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody's going to take you seriously. So you've got to change some of the ways that you're doing things if you want to be amongst a different crowd, or if you want to be exposed to different things. You're going to have to get rid of some of those old ways that have been holding you back. And those are the things that you do while you're waiting. You don't wait until the opportunity comes and you jump in it and then you embarrass yourself because you weren't ready. Now is the time for preparation while you're waiting. And another thing is, you want to make your plans while you're waiting. Sit down and figure out, is what I'm asking for something that I really understand? Let me try to understand exactly what I'm asking for. What is it going to cost me to get what I'm over here praying for? What am I going to have to give up? What am I going to have to endure? You know, am I going to be crying all the time? But when I get it, you know, when things aren't what I thought they should be. So you have to count up the costs for everything that you're trying to do. And especially if it's something major. Understand it. Spend that time before you get it, preparing for it. Make a plan of how you're going to handle the good times and how you're going to handle the bad. Same thing with a marriage. That's why it's so important when you're dating, you guys. And this is something I did not do. So I am so not surprised that my marriages didn't work, because I didn't sit down, and nobody taught me this. Sit down and have those hard conversations while you're dating. You need to find out how people feel about paying bills. You need to find out how they feel about saving money. You need to find out what their idea of cheating is, because some people think texting the opposite sex is cheating. Some people think watching certain things on the internet is cheating. Some people think just having friends of the opposite sex is cheating. You need to sit down with that person and find out their views on things. How do they feel about being clean, keeping a house clean, keeping a yard? How do they feel about their family? How do they feel about supporting, you know, what you're trying to do? Are they going to be supportive of you? Are they going to be jealous of you when you're doing well? You know, those are the things I didn't sit down and have serious discussions about. I never would have gotten married. I found those things out after the fact, after I said I do. And those were conversations that I would have been better off to have, because then you would know that somebody's not for you. But we're so busy trying to flirt and keep somebody's attention. You're right, saying get an understanding before there's a misunderstanding, okay? But a lot of times we're trying to flirt and trying to keep that person's attention. Okay, that's fine and well until you actually get that person in your life full time. And then all that cutesy stuff is going to go out the window because you didn't have the hard conversation. What do they think about children? Do they even like children? Do they like your children? Do they have baby mama drama? Are they going to have problems with your child's dad? All of these things you need to try to, and this right here, what are they like when they're angry? Saying that's real. And how do they handle challenges? Because you need to know that before you make a commitment with somebody. And I wish to God somebody had sat me down when I was younger and explained to me that that's part of being unequally yoked. Everybody thinks it's all about church. No, not being compatible is not the same as not having things in common. You can have things in common and still not be compatible with that person. You can both go to church. You can both love the Lord and still not be compatible with that person. You can still be unequally yoked and both of y'all are believers. I had that all twisted. Trust me. And I married somebody because he was in the church. I had that all twisted. That just because you're in the church doesn't mean that person's going to treat you right. And doesn't mean you're not going to have all those crazy issues you would have with somebody that's not in the church. And I had to find those things out the hard way. But I got an understanding now that I'm single, and I've been single for a while. But I want to bring these things up so maybe I can help you guys not go through some of the stuff I went through. Because I needed somebody to sit down and talk to me and say, hey, have you had this hard conversation? What does he feel about this? What does he feel about if you need to help a family member with something? Is he going to be mad at you because you helped them out? Or is he going to be reluctant to accept your family members, this, that, and the other? Those things have to be talked about. You cannot just be flirting and engaging and trying to keep their attention and keep their physical attention and stuff like that, because it's that mental stuff that's going to ruin your relationship. It's going to be the mental stuff that you didn't talk about, that you didn't address. And you'll be so thankful even if the relationship ends because you have those type of conversations, because that saves you all that time you would have wasted finding out the hard way. Put it on the front. That's right. We put on fronts because we give everybody our best self, but we don't give people our real self. And I'm going to do a talk about that one. It's called Can You Handle the Truth? But we're going to come back to that later. So what else you do while you're waiting? Unpack your bags. All that baggage from your past relationship, don't bring that into somebody else's life. That is so unfair. It is so unfair to make somebody else's brand new pay for somebody old that hurt you. Or pay for somebody else's mistakes. That is not fair to them to have to deal with that. So you need to spend some time by yourself while you're waiting, unpacking those bags. Get counseling, get whatever you need to get over what somebody else did to you, what a family member did to you. You're going to have to get over that, and you're going to have to forgive. Because you know what? When you don't get over it and you don't forgive, you're the only one being held hostage. People have gone on about their business. They ain't thinking about you. You're the only one still tripping because you didn't unpack your own bags. So this is your time to unpack those bags. Find out what's been eating you. Find out why you're always running people off, why you can't be in a healthy relationship, why you're so mean. Some people are just mean and bitter, but you need to get to the root of that. You need to get to the root of that because nobody wants to deal with that. And it's not fair for anybody to try to love you and you're just mean. So let's get some of these bags unpacked and try not to take it into other people's lives because it's truly not fair to them. And then get rid of some of those attachments that you've gotten along the way. That's what this time of waiting is for. Get rid of those attachments. Cut off that dead weight. I had some dead weight I had to get out of my phone. Quit calling me, quit texting me, quit sending me stuff. I don't want to hear it. Dead weight. Been dead weight hanging on. I got to let this stuff go because I want better. I'm trying to move forward. So get rid of some of that dead weight while you're waiting. And then another thing you need to do while you're waiting, cast down those imaginations. Because sometimes it's not what somebody's physically doing to you. Sometimes it's those thoughts that are coming into your head. Those negative thoughts, those I can't do it thoughts, those I'm not good enough thoughts, those, I don't deserve it thoughts, I made a mistake, God will forgive you if you ask for forgiveness. You have to ask for forgiveness. Then you have to believe you receive it. That was so hard for me. And I honestly, sometimes I still struggle with that. But my mindset is of this, you know what? If God said it, I've got to believe it. And he says it in his word that he will forgive you. But you've got to turn from some things and get rid of those wicked ways. But those negative thoughts and those imaginations, those things that are coming at you, trying to make you act the way you used to, you got to cast that stuff down and be like, that is not who I am anymore. You can go on with that. You can't tempt me with that no more. That's who I used to be. I don't want to be that no more. So go on with that. Go on to somebody else with that. Cast that stuff down. Cast it down. And those negative thoughts about you not being good enough, stop saying that. And understand that nobody is good enough. We are all under grace. All under grace. So understand, quit comparing yourself to other people. Nobody's better than you are. Nobody got it going on more than you are. You just not working your own stuff. Work your own stuff and you have it going on for yourself. Stay in your lane and understand that you are who God expected you to be because he created you to be who you are. So quit trying to be like everybody else. Yes, your tongue is a ready writer. So you got to be careful what you say because you will put it out into existence. You writing your story every day with the stuff you let come out your mouth. Thank you, Sam. And then work on your mind, your body, and your spirit while you're waiting. Work on those things that you know need some improvement. Quit focusing on what you don't have. We all got stuff that we don't have. But put your mind on things that you do have some control over. Get your body in shape. Get your mind right. Stop watching any and everything. Stop talking to any and everybody. And stop going any and everywhere. A lot of times we bring stuff on ourselves because we keep doing those same repetitive behaviors. We got to get out of some stuff. If we want something new, we got to do something new. So start taking care of your body. What can I do to eat better? What can I do to improve my blood pressure, my blood sugar? All of this. What can I do to help me sleep better? What bad habits are keeping me stressed out that I need to let go of? I'm telling you, work on that mind, that body, and that spirit. That'll keep you busy enough. That way, while you're waiting, before you know it, you'll have what you want and it won't even feel like you waited that long. But you got to get your focus on the right thing. And you got to enjoy the wait while you're waiting. Because there's plenty to do besides sitting around and moping. You've got plenty of work to do and you always will as long as you're on this earth. And then another thing you want to do while you're waiting is trust God that he has a plan for your life. We don't know everything. We don't understand everything. And you have to be okay with that. I'm learning now to just say, okay. Because I understand I don't know everything. I don't have a clue what God is doing a lot of times. So I'm learning to stand back and just say, okay. Because I don't have to understand it. Because he got it. And when you realize he got it, my little limited understanding ain't going to change nothing no way. So I'm just going to trust him. Because I know he's going to figure it out and he's got the final say anyway. So I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm going to let him handle things. And I'm going to trust what he tells me to do. And I'm going to try to go the direction he tells me to go. If I get out of line, I'm going to try to get back in line. If I get out of line again, I'm going to try to get back in line and say, Lord, help me get back in line because you know how I am. I'm not going to beat myself up when I fall off or when I fall short. He knew you were going to do it anyway. He knows we're imperfect. All I'm going to do is do my best to get back in line again. And that's all you can do. And you have to understand that God has a plan for your life that's bigger than anything you can imagine. And start asking God, start praying to God, say, God, I want what you want for me. Because I don't even know what to pray for. A lot of times I don't. But I'm going to try to pray about something. But a lot of times I don't know what to pray for because I want what he wants for me. And I have no idea what that is. I get glimpses of directions he wants me to go. And I have dreams sometimes of things that he shows me. But I want what he wants for me. And so I need him to guide me to get there the way that I'm supposed to get there. And I trust him with the process. However long it takes, I'm going to trust him with the process. But I'm going to enjoy my life in the meantime. I'm not going to be sitting around talking about, ooh, Lord, I can't move. I'm waiting on God. I'm not finna do that. I'm finna enjoy my life while I'm waiting. Okay? And then choose your company. That's another thing you got to do while you're waiting. Choose your company. Don't let them choose you. You have control over that. Don't let any and everybody attach themselves to you. Because a lot of times you'll get things attached to you that it'll take you years to get off. Because you let the wrong people in your life with all them spirits that you don't know nothing about. And then you wondering why you acting funny. You rolling your eyes at people. You just got an attitude all the time. Who you been around? Who you been hanging around? Who you let get close to you? Sometimes you got to clean that out and say, you know what, you're a negative influence. So I'm going to not spend so much time with you. You ain't got to tell them that, but you can show them by backing off a little bit. And that's what you have to do. You have to back off sometimes and just kind of let people be who they are. If they're not trying to change, that don't mean you have to hang around to them. That loyalty is going to kill some people, and it has killed some people trying to be loyal to things that don't matter. And we've all done it. We've tried to stay in relationships that didn't matter. We've tried to hold on to people that didn't matter. We've tried to be in organizations that didn't matter. Only because we didn't want to let other people down. Because we were trying to please somebody else. But we've got to cut that out, you guys. You choose your company. Don't let your company choose you. You get some control about that thing. Get rid of those loose ends. Get rid of those freeloaders. And definitely get rid of those emotional sponges. There are people that are in your life just simply to suck up all your emotion with their drama. Get rid of some of those people. Don't have time. Stop answering the phone for those people. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some recovery time so that you can get strong again. Because when you've got people constantly pulling from you all the time and you don't take a sabbatical to get back and say, hey, I'm cutting this phone off. Don't come out here because I'm not going to answer the door. I need some time for me. And that's why that self-care is so important. That's why that me time is so important. That's why getting off to yourself is so important, and just getting away from all the hustle and bustle and, just sometimes even getting away from your own children for a minute. You need to do that because everybody's pulling on you. And you need time to recuperate and rest and let your mind and your spirit rest. Because you can't be everything to everybody, but people will let you do that if you allow them to. And they will wear you out until you're nothing. So let go of some of those attachments. And then another thing you do while you're waiting, maximize your time. Find out what else you can do. While you're waiting to do this one thing, learn a new craft. And say, you know what, I always wanted to learn how to paint. Learn how to paint. Go get you one of them paint by number sets. That's what me and Rita did. Find out what else you can do. Find some other interests, some other hobbies. Maximize your time. That way you're not sitting around focused and set on one particular thing in your life, because you don't know how long it's going to take to come to pass. And there's no point in putting yourself on hold while you're waiting. Why are you putting life on hold? Life doesn't stop for anybody, but you're trying to hold up and talking about, wait, I'm going to wait on this, I'm going to wait on that. Enjoy your life. Wear those heels. Go out, dress up. Quit saving those dresses for this and that. Quit saving that outfit. Go out, if you got to go out by yourself and be cute. Pull out them dishes that you always talk about, ooh, no, that's the good time. Pull that stuff out and eat on it. Because all that's going to happen is when you die, everybody's going to be fighting over it. So enjoy what you have. Maximize your time. Don't save nothing. Enjoy everything you have while you're here. Don't be putting stuff off for 2 and 3 years. Do it. If you're able to do it now. Maximize your time. The time is now. The time is now. And then the last thing that you're going to do while you're waiting is let patience have its perfect work. One thing I'm learning about when God makes me wait for something, He's teaching me patience. Because there's been times when I wanted something so bad, and because He made me wait, I got to see some things happen with that situation or with that person that made me back up and say, ooh, I'm so glad God didn't give me that. because I got to see the whole thing, not just the glamorous part that I wanted. And I thank God that he held me back and made me wait because he was trying to teach me something. I just wanted to run in. I want this, that, and the other. He was trying to show me it's always not cracked up to be what it looks like. A lot of things are about appearances. So you have to understand that everything that glitters is not gold. And sometimes God will hold you back from something so you can understand that there was something else on the other side of that that wasn't good for you. So that's why you have to let patience have its perfect work, because patience is going to mold you and it's going to help build your character. And it also teaches you to value what you've been waiting for once you get it. If you have to wait for something or work for something, you tend to value it more. You tend to be more grateful for it because it costs you more. So understand that patience must have its perfect work. There's a purpose for God making you wait on some things. And you just have to accept that and just understand that he's got your best interest in heart. So now let's talk about, what are you waiting for? But first ask yourself, am I really waiting? Or am I just making excuses? Because sometimes we'll say, oh, we're just waiting on this, waiting on that. And a lot of times we're operating in a spirit of fear. We're not really waiting. We're just scared to move. But it sounds better to say, oh, we're waiting on the Lord. We're waiting on this to happen. I'm waiting on for me to get this together before I do this or that. People make excuses a lot of times. So make sure that you're really waiting for something to happen because you put in the preparation, and that you're not just sitting around not moving because you're scared of what may or may not happen. You're scared to fail. You're scared to fall. We all fall. We all fail. That's just part of life. That's how you learn. But the thing about it is when you fall and when you fail, you get back up and you try it again. And then if you realize that ain't for you, try something else. I don't worry about it. When I can't do something or I fail at something, I might try it a few more times, but then I'm going to move on to something else. I'm not going to dwell on what I can't do because there's too many things that I know that I can do. Everything's not meant for me to do. So I just chalk it up. Okay, that wasn't meant for me. And I'll keep it moving. I'll go do something else. And then I'll succeed at the other thing I go to do. So just understand, we have a whole world of opportunities. Don't be down on yourself just because you can't do a certain thing that maybe somebody else can do. That might not be for you. And that's okay. God did not make us all to do the same thing. So just let it go and keep it moving and just shake it off. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to be happy? That's the question you need to ask yourself if you're unhappy. Are you waiting for a perfect man? No such thing. Are you waiting for a perfect situation? No such thing. Are you waiting for some standard, for you to reach some standard you've been holding yourself to? You know, I've seen people that have put off having children, you know, because they were so focused on their career. I know I've got to be in this position. I've got to make this much money. I've got to have this kind of house, this kind of car. And guess what? When they wanted to have a child, they couldn't. Because they had let so much time go by, so much stress in their life, things of that nature. They bypassed that time when they were able to have a child because they had this image of what they needed to be before they could do a certain thing. And then now they're unhappy because they have not redeemed the time. They didn't maximize the time, because you can do this and that. You can do more than one thing at a time. But when you're so focused and driven on one thing, a lot of times that tunnel vision will make you miss out on a lot of things along the way, because you've got your mind on what you want to do, not what God wants you to do or what God wants you to have. And you're going to miss out on some things, and a lot of times you're not going to be happy. But what are you waiting for? And why are you not happy today? Are you afraid to take some steps to be happy? Do you know what will make you happy, but you're just afraid to go get it? A lot of times that's what it is. Sometimes we know that we're in situations where we're not happy, but we're afraid to get out of them because we don't know what's on the other side. So ask God to help you if you got a spirit of fear that's keeping you from being happy. Or are you still licking old wounds? You know, a lot of times we're still licking old wounds from the past, and they hurt me so bad, I don't even want to give another try, and I'm not going to let another man hurt me like that, this, that, and the other. You're robbing yourself of happiness, because everybody's not the same as your ex. Everybody doesn't have the same character. Everybody is not out to get you. You know, and as long as you've got that paranoia and you're holding on to those hurt feelings, you're robbing yourself from being happy. Because there's somebody out there that may love you to death and would never do anything that that other person did to you. But the only thing that's holding you back is yourself and that fear of the unknown of what somebody else might do. Because some people like to nurse those old wounds. You know, they don't want to let that go because that's their story. They tell everybody about how somebody hurt them. So when you rob them of their story, they ain't got nothing else to say. So a lot of times people don't want to move forward. So that may be holding some people back from their happiness. That leads me into the next step. What are you waiting for to move forward? Are you refusing to let go of what used to be? A lot of times, I'm going to hit hard with this lady. Sometimes we don't want to let our ex go because we still in love and he's not. Or he's moved on to somebody else and we haven't. That's a problem. Because just because you want it to be there doesn't mean it's going to happen. And a lot of times you make yourself miserable and you make that other person miserable because they got to deal with your drama because you won't let go and move forward. When it's over, it's over. And we got to understand that. And we got to push those old past relationships back where they're supposed to be. That's why they call it the past. When it's over, it's over. And you have to put it in the category of the past. And you've got to find a way to move on with your life. Otherwise, you make yourself miserable and you make your ex miserable. And nobody deserves that. You deserve to be happy and they do too. Okay? So let go of that old stuff so you can move forward. And then what are you waiting for? Now, this one hit hard with me, you guys, because I dealt with a lot of drama when I was raising my kids. And one day I sat down and I just really thought about everything. I said, you know what? I missed some opportunities with my children trying to hold on to this family. I was trying to create this family with this husband, wife, and kids. I said, and all that energy I was putting into dealing with men, I was missing out on opportunities to encourage my boys to be men. But God said, it ain't over. And that was my word one day because I was just really feeling, convicted about that. Because sometimes we let life get a hold of us and take control, and we miss out on the things that are most important. Those kids gonna need that encouragement because you don't know what they face when they walk out that door. But if you're so caught up with life and with drama and trying to make a world fit into a box that you wanted to fit in, and that's where I was trying to make this family box fit, and it just was not fitting. There was this drama over here, drama over there, and my kids missed out on the best of me, the best parent I could have been. I could have been better. I did what I could, but now that they're grown and I look back in retrospect, I think, man, I could have done better. But my focus was tunneled on trying to have a complete picture of what a family was when I probably would have been better off raising my children as a single mother than taking them through the drama with the men that I took them through with, that I married. So those are the things that I have to deal with. Those are the things that I have to slowly forgive myself for. Because you don't forgive yourself over stuff overnight. Because things kind of come back to haunt you sometimes. But one thing I did hear that word that said it's not over. And because I heard that word and I received that word, now I am my grown children's greatest encourager. Because I know what I put in them. I gave them a foundation. I could have given them a lot more, but I knew I gave them a foundation. So now I build on that foundation. Now that I'm not trying to raise them anymore, now that they're men, now I can encourage them every day. I can send them out text messages and say, hey, hold your head up. be strong, keep your head on a swivel, whatever you got to say to kind of help them survive. Or, make sure you're managing your money, things that they don't expect, from anybody else. Nobody else is going to give them. So I try to give them what the world is not going to give them. I send them motivational speeches, little short things just to get them started with their day, about being a man and about being strong and about dealing with your emotions and dealing with your mental health. I send them those things because I can encourage them now, but those were things I wish I could have instilled in them as I was raising them. And if you have small children, you have time to encourage them and work on their self-esteem and pay attention to them with what they don't like about their bodies and what they say about themselves. Because when you're really busy, you don't hear those things. And I remember my youngest said something about how he didn't like his smile. And I was like, you have a beautiful smile, but he didn't think so. And it took me a while to understand that that's how he felt about himself. Somebody said something to him that probably hurt him, and I probably missed that whole season of when that was really bothering him because I was in the midst of my drama. So now I always make sure I tell my children how beautiful they are, how handsome they are, how they're smarter than they think they are, and how proud I am of them. I make a point of encouraging them, and I'll get texts back saying, I needed this today. And that's when I know I've done what God wanted me to do. And that's when I can kick dirt in the devil's eye that tries to make me feel bad about what I didn't do when they was little. When I get a response back like that, I'll be like, now, devil, I might not have done it then, but it's not too late. And just understand it's not too late. So what are you waiting for to encourage your children? And you might think, when they're young, they don't need it. But trust me, they do. They need to hear that you're proud of them. They need to hear that you're so thankful that they are in your life. They need to hear that they're a part of the family. They're a very important, part of the family, that the family does not work without them. Because they need to know that they're important too. It can't just be about your relationship. It's got to also be about them because they didn't ask to be here. We brought them here. And so when they're little, we raise them, we shape them, we teach them, and we try to mentor them. But when they get an adult and out of our house, that's our time to be their confidant. When your children tell you something in confidence, please don't go tell other family members. That happened to me, and it broke my heart because I thought I could go to the person that I went to and tell something that was really, really bothering me. There's nothing worse than family hurt. That's next to church hurt. But when you feel like even your family is against you, that's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with. So please don't make that mistake of your child telling you something in confidence and you feeling like you got to share with everybody. He didn't give you permission to do that. She didn't give you permission to do that. Be what that child needs, and they're going to need a confidant once they get out in this world because a lot of things are going to happen that they're not ready for. So they need somebody to talk to, and who should they not talk to but their parents? Their parents should be the one person that are the people that they can count on to have their back. And then be their advisor. You don't tell your grown children how to live. You give them advice and say, have you considered this? Well, this worked for me when I was your age, but you do what you want to do. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. They remember what you said, but you can't run their lives once they get grown. Your job is to be their advisor and then hope that they listen and give them some wisdom, some things to think about. And then, of course, be their supporter. When they make decisions that they feel like are best for them, quit telling them that they're dumb or stupid or that doesn't make sense. If that works for them, if that's what they feel is best for them, let them do what they have to do and pray for them. That if it's something that you just really feel in your spirit is not right for them, let God show them. Because a lot of times when you speak against them, you're going to alienate yourself from them and you're going to lose that close relationship that you're going to wish you had later. Okay? And then what are you waiting for to do that project that you've been thinking about? A lot of times we just keep putting stuff off, and we keep talking about stuff year after year after year. Do it now. If you're able to, go ahead and get started on it. Make a plan. Do a little bit at a time. You know, there's nothing more rewarding than starting something, a project, and looking back saying, man, I did that. Or look how far I've gotten. Because that gives you a sense of accomplishment, a sense of purpose. Okay? And the last thing I put on, what are you waiting for? And I said it before. I said to allow yourself to love and be loved. Are you holding onto your past? Are you afraid of being hurt? Are you set in your ways? Some of us just something to deal with. Just set in our ways. Or are you too independent and you have too much of a need to be in control? So a lot of times that is making us have to wait to be happy because we don't want to relinquish on any of that. Okay? And the last thing is, what are you waiting on to plan that vacation? To get you some me time, some downtime. Stop putting that off because that is so important for your mental health. And it's also important for your physical and your spiritual. Because when you go all the time and you don't take that time to have some downtime and get away, you will feel it. It will start affecting your mind, your body, and your spirit. So it's beneficial to you to make the sacrifices to get that time, even if it's just a weekend away. Do it. It's going to bless you. Do it. You need that to recoup, to just reboot your system so that you can be fresh and be your best self. Now, my final thought is, since we know we always have periods in our lives where we're going to be forced to wait, why not enjoy the wait? Enjoy the wait. We also need to appreciate the wait because, like I said before, sometimes God is making us wait for a reason. And I said sometimes the wait is meant to help you with your focus and your direction. Sometimes you don't need what you're asking for is because you're too busy being all over the place. Sometimes God makes you wait so you can get your focus and your direction in line. And then other times it may be God's way of protecting you. So just understand, sometimes delay just means that. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have it. It just means that you're not ready for it right now. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys. Hey, San. Hey, Kinsley. Love you guys. Tomorrow is Good Friday, and I was going to do something for our Free Your Mind Friday, but I think I'm just going to let this be a holiday for us to try to remember and reflect all that God has done for us and remember Jesus and the sacrifices he made. And so I don't want to take anything away from that. So we'll pick up with our Free Your Mind Friday. We'll do something next Friday. But just enjoy your family. Enjoy your holiday. Reflect. Think about all the things that you're blessed with. And learn to stop murmuring and complaining because somebody has it way worse than you do. So y'all, let's have a spirit of gratefulness and a spirit of joy, just knowing that Jesus is risen, that we have a risen Savior, and we have something to look forward to, and we have somebody fighting for us. So you guys, I love y'all. Happy Friday and happy Easter. Y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe. Talk to y'all later. See you next week. Bye.